Hi everyone. So today we will solve this problem increasing triplet subsequence. Okay, so the input is that we are provided with the array called nums and we have to return true if there exists a triplet. So what is the triplet over here? Triplet is that we will have three index, right? I, j and k such that I is smaller than j, so j is smaller than k. So you should notice any two indexes are not equal. They should be unequal and they will have a increasing order. And the value at those indexes should also be in increasing order. Nums of I will be smaller than nums of j, smaller than nums of k. So if we find such triplet, in that case, we will return true. Otherwise, we will return false. So just look at this example number 1. If you see, for index number 0, 1, and 2, this first condition is satisfied. I is smaller than j, j is smaller than k. And the second condition of nums, if you see, 1, 2, 3, this is in increasing order. Okay, so we will return true. So in this scenario, if in place of 1 we had suppose 2, so 2, 2, 3 will not be a triplet because it is strictly increasing. There cannot be any element which are equal. Okay, so then it will not be a triplet. So for this example, here if we see example number 2, here this number is in decreasing order if you see. So obviously there does not exist any triplet. Okay, so this is how we have to work on this. Okay, so let's solve this problem. Let's assume this example, we have this array, okay, nums, and we have element 2, 3, 4, 0, 3. So let's assume we have three boxes, B1, B2, and B3, and we have to fill these boxes such that B1 will have a value smaller than B2, B2 will have value smaller than B3, all right? So before doing that, obviously there should be some value associated with each box. Then only we can compare, right? So let's assume that B1 first of all contains some max value. This also contains some max value. It will be larger than any element in the array. Okay. And B3, let it be. We don't need any max value over there. Okay. So then what we will do, we will traverse the array nums from left to right. And whenever we fetch an element from the array, we will try to store it in a correct box, but we will always begin from B1 and then we will move toward B3. So let's see. First of all, we will check whether 2 is smaller than m, that is the max value or not. Yes, it is smaller, so we will place 2 inside the first box. Okay, so now max value in this box will change to 2. So whenever we will receive a value is smaller than the current value of the box, we will store it in that box itself. Okay, so let's look at the next example, next element. So we get 3. First, we will check, is 3 smaller than 2? No, it is greater than 2. Then we will move to the next box, B2. Okay, is the current value of B2, that is M, max value, is greater than 3? Yes, it is. So we can store 3 over here and the current value of box will be 3. Okay, and then the next element is 4. We will check 4. Is 4 smaller than the current value of the box? The current value of box is what? It is 2. It is not smaller. So 4. Now we'll move to the next box. Similarly, we will check if 4 is smaller than 3. No. Then we will move 4 to the end and we will simply write it. We don't need to compare when we reach to the last box. Why? Because if any element is reaching at the last, that means it must be greater than both the boxes before it, right? And if you see, these elements are now arranged in triplet order, right? 2, 3, and 4. And in indexes also you can see 0, 1, and 2. So this is our triplet. We will simply return true in this case. Okay, so this is the simple example. Let's take one more example where we have this array 215046. Let's again create 3 boxes. So if you see, this box is basically kind of filtering, right? So we are only allowing element which are greater than us to the next box. Okay, if the current element is smaller than us or equal to us also, we will stop it right there, because we cannot pass that element to the next box, correct? Because then it will basically violate the property of triplet. All right. So yeah, so this is again m, max value is m, here is m, last one remains empty, b1, b2 and b3. Now first we will have 2. Okay, now we will check 2 with m. Is m greater than 2? Yes. So we will replace m with 2 and we will store 2. Okay, we will not move to the next box. Now the next element is 1. We will check 1. Is 1 smaller than 2? Is 1 smaller than 2? Yes. So we will store 1 over here and the current value of box will be 1. Right? Now we move to the next element 5. We will compare with 5. Is 5 smaller than 1? No. Then 5 will be here. Is 5 smaller than m? Correct. We will store 5 and this m will be replaced with 5. Okay. Next element is 0. Is 0 smaller than 1? Yes. So we will store 0 over here, 0, and the current value of b1 will become 0. Okay. Now we move to the 4. 4 is smaller than 0? No, it is not. We will pass this element to the next box. Is 4 smaller than 5? Correct. So we will replace the current value of 5 with 4 and we will store 4 in the B2. So always remember, whatever the value we are overwriting, right? This 0 and 4, that is the current value of box. The values 0 to 1, they are stored in the box, but they does not represent the current value of the box, because current value of the box will always be the smallest element among all the elements inside the box. So if you see here, 0 is the smallest, so here 0 is representing the box, here 4 is the smallest, 4 is representing. Now we move to the next element 6. So if you see 6 is smaller than 0? No. Is it smaller than 4? No. So we will place it at the end. And now if you say 0, 4 and 6, 0, 4 and 6, these are forming a triplet. So again we will return true. Mhm. So if you see why this solution is working, the simple way to understand is, if you notice, we have 3 boxes, right? They are kind of filters. Like this box has some filters, this box has some filter. Okay. So this box will only allow elements which are greater than the current element in the box, or the current smallest element in the box. So suppose box has 2. So any element greater than 2 will go to the next box, right? Like 3, 7, 10. Why so? Because obviously if we allow element smaller than or equal to 2, which is 2 and 1, if we store 2, this is not forming a triplet, right? 2 is smaller than equal to 2? No. If we allow 1, again, 2 is smaller than 1? No. So this is also not forming a triplet. Okay. So basically, each box has a filter. It will only allow the elements which are greater than the current box value, and then only it will pass to the next box. Okay. So in this way, if you see, always smaller elements are at the B1, larger than the larger element are at the B2, okay, and the largest element is at the B3. Okay, so this is how we will solve this problem. Okay, so let's look at the code. It's straightforward, just like I explained. This is how we will code it. This is the code. So as we studied earlier, we have 3 boxes. So this first if is the first box, this else if is the second box, and this else with return is the last box. Okay, and we will traverse the nums from start till the end, and we will compare each element of the nums with the first box. If it passes through the first box, we will compare with the second box, and if it passes through the second box also, we will compare it with the third box. So if you notice, this if condition is kind of a filter. Okay, so we are only allowing elements which are greater than a small one. So a small one basically represents the smallest value which came in box 1, and S2 represents the smallest value which came in box 2, which we have declared over here. So this is how the code is. We are simply traversing through all the element. We are comparing with the box 1. If it is smaller than the current value of the box 1, we are storing it. And if that is not the case, we will then check it with the second box. If for the second box that value is smaller then the current value of box 2, we will store it. Otherwise, we will pass it to the last box. That means that value nums I greater than the value of box 1, and it was also greater than the value of box 2. So it should be in the box 3. So if all three boxes are filled, that means they must be in order because we have added filters. Because of this, it will always be in order and we will simply return true in that case. If we are not able to reach to the last box, that means first two box only got filled. That means we only got element like 1, 2, 3, 4. There was no third element for the triplet. In that case, we will simply return false. And the complexity, as you can see, it is simply big O of n. We are simply traversing the nums and we are returning the answer. So this is the code. I will share the link to this code on the video and you can check this.